We're talking about the LA Clippers, a fantasy basketball season preview. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and my second job is as a landscape gardener. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms. So, we're here. We're talking Clippers. Quick update on the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl. By the time you are watching or listening to this, I think the $50 head-to-head league will be full. I think all, honestly, of the head-to-head leagues will be full by the time you're watching this. There'll be a best ball, points league, draft and stash, roto league, and a regular points league available. There probably will be another head-to-head category league released. When? I don't know. But if you go and click the link, linktree/LOFB Bowl now, you might not see a head-to-head category league there. I think there will be one. I just don't know when I will put it up. I want to get those other ones filled out a little bit more first, but that will be, I think, our fifth head-to-head category league, which means that is 600 teams. That's right, 600 teams. I will like to keep going, and I will keep going. Next week will be the week that we get some standalone auctions going to. So be ready for that. But yeah, that's the update on the old, what do you call it? Yeah, Locked On Fantasy Basketball. That is what it is called. All right. We're talking about the LA Clippers. You'll notice we've gone in alphabetical order with these teams, but skipped over the Golden State Warriors because I'm waiting for some sort of resolution. Because currently this team, even my projections, have Al Horford on the team and Anthony Melton on the team, but I don't know that's true because they haven't signed. And Kuminga hasn't signed. And I have no idea what is going to happen with these players. So we've got to wait. Let's talk Clippers. Let's have a look at a projected rotation, a projected starting five for this squad. I think the starting five is as locked in as almost any of them, to be honest. Jim Harden, Brad Beal, Kawhi Leonard, the Baptist Johnny Collins, and Ivica Zubac. The rotation's a little bit interesting. I've got 11 guys there, but there are two of those players who I think might alternate, not necessarily alternate games in and out, but sort of sit quite a few of them. And that's Chris Paul and Nico Batum, because they're both a million years old. We've also got Bogdan Bogdanovic, who's currently dealing with a hamstring injury that he suffered at Eurobasket. I would guess in the next few days we'll get an update on the severity of that. I expect that he misses the start of the season. And then the other guys in the rotation will be Derek Jones and Brook Lopez. But you'll notice your new arrivals there, Paul, Lopez, and of course Collins and Beal in that group. So 4 new rotation pieces. All of them, well, most of them are old as shit, not really John Collins. But makes some intriguing sort of decisions and questions that we need to have. So let's take a look at what the projection questions are that I have about this Clippers team. We'll start with the Kawhi Leonard saga. I'm not going to rehash the details of it because obviously you can go watch Pablo Finds Out for all of those details, and everything is changing every 5 seconds. What I will say is I don't expect, but things could change because this could get out of hand. And the NBA has basically come out and said we won't have any resolution until after the All-Star break. Conveniently, after the All-Star game is at Intuit Dome. Real convenient. I don't think that there will be any significant impact here on Kawhi Leonard for this season. I don't think. But it could be. We might see something happen at Media Day in a couple of days' time for the Clippers, and Kawhi gets asked questions, and I'm sure he will, unless the reporters have no balls. I assume he'll get asked something, and we might get more damning evidence come out where Kawhi just doesn't play because the team is like, we're putting you on leave to sort this out. I don't know. Irrespective of that, I wouldn't be drafting Kawhi in head-to-head leagues in the top 50 anyway because of the knee. And at the moment, Kawhi is currently healthy. But you know my take on this. You have heard my take on this. We cannot predict injuries. You can't predict injuries. By the way, these two sentences definitely do not contradict each other. You cannot predict injuries. But when a player has had multiple degenerative injuries / surgeries on one singular body part, that body part will never be the same. Kawhi has had multiple meniscus tears, the quad tendinopathy, and an ACL tear in the same knee. His knee will never be good. He will always be at risk of injuring that knee at a higher level. Once you have meniscus trims, your risk of that re-injuring is skyrocketed. That is medical science. That is just a fact. If you break your toe, that does not mean that you will break your finger. If you sprain your ankle, that does not mean that you will tear your ACL. If you have hurt your wrist, that does not actually make you more likely to sprain your wrist again, or to get a concussion, or to get sick, or to get a punctured lung. But if you have multiple injuries to your knee where they cut bits of your knee out, then you are going to have that knee injury again. That is just a true fact. So therefore, Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, I will not be drafting you anywhere close to your per game numbers. Kawhi was unbelievable down the stretch last season. He played in the fantasy playoffs. He also didn't play for the first 3 months of the year. So if he's healthy coming into this season, does he play early on and then he gets injured in February? I don't know that, but it is possible. Playing for 3 months in a row, and he did it, and he played big minutes. He played huge minutes, and he played back-to-backs. That doesn't mean that that'll happen all season. So I'm just in a head-to-head format. I will not touch him in the top 50. If I'm in a roto league, I would consider it in the 4th round. I would consider that because we know that the availability stuff in roto is not as impactful, even though that might seem counterintuitive to some of you. One of the next projection questions, which I think is a relatively easy one, is like how Lopez impacts Zubac. Well, I won't say no, mate, let me rephrase that. I don't know that it's an easy question. If the answer is, will Lopez impact Zubac? I think the answer is yes. I guess the question we have is how much. Brook Lopez played 32 minutes a game last season. Yeah, he's 37 years of age. But remember, in order for Zubac to play 33 minutes a night, Lopez has to play 15. And I really do not think that Brook would sign with the Clippers in order to be a 15-minute-a-night backup center. In previous seasons, part of the reason why you were able to get Zubac at a discount last season, you can see Brook Lopez's numbers on the screen. They were still pretty good, but he was only 106th in 32 minutes. He is, by the way, just not a draftable player, Brook Lopez, in 10s or 12s or 14-team leagues. Not draftable. In the past, part of the reason we were able to get Ivica Zubac so late in fantasy drafts is because Ty Lue would not play him big minutes. He would not play him over 30 minutes. He would always find ways through small ball to limit him. And last season, the ability to play small ball with no Paul George and no Kawhi Leonard was not there. So we knew that was a great opportunity for Zubac. But guess what they did? Kawhi's healthy. John Collins is there. Lopez is there. So the 33 minutes that Zubac played, 35th ranked player in points leagues, 56th in categories according to Durant, it's not going to be able to repeat. I would be incredibly confident that Zubac does not play 33 minutes a night. Incredibly confident. He averaged 17 and I love Zubac. I think he's a great player. I was massive into drafting him last season. He averaged 13 and 7 with 1 block. His free throws are actually well below what he'd done in the past, so that could actually go higher. Huge field goal percentage guy. But also look at the numbers. He's points below average. Rebounds, good. Blocks, good. Field goals, great. That's it. He's not a well-rounded player across multiple areas. And now we run the risk of him just, conservatively, he loses 3 minutes. Lopez plays 18 and up. But even that, you go, Brook Lopez is pretty good, man. Will he actually play 18 minutes only? I think not. What about Bradley Beal? Bradley Beal, he's a very easy punching bag across the NBA. Very easy. He got injured quite a bit last season, played 53 games. But he was also pretty good. He was an easy top 100 player on a per game basis, easily. And that was playing alongside Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And now he plays alongside Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, but he probably won't get benched, which I thought was a ridiculous call from Phoenix. He had a 22 usage, so he didn't have huge usage. He averaged 17, 3 and 4 assists with a steal. 50% shooting, 39 from 3. To me, there is no real reason why Beal just can't repeat these numbers. The risk you have is, of course, his health, and he's had back issues and ankle issues, which I'm not that worried about ankles, but the back, yeah. But to me, I think that it's reasonable. And you might take that me saying, is Beal the same as Phoenix is a bad thing? I think it's a good thing. If Beal is the same as Phoenix, or it's the same Beal that we got in Phoenix, I think you should feel good about that. Does the small ball idea eliminate Collins? Let me rephrase it. You'll say, Josh, that's dumb because with small ball you play Collins at center. Maybe. Or if you play small ball, you play Zubac at center or Lopez at center and Kawhi plays at the 4. If Ty Lue goes back, and he is one of the most, him and Steve Kerr are the two biggest proponents of small ball in the NBA, I would say. So if Lue goes back to his favored method, it involves Kawhi Leonard playing at the 4. Or Batum, however you want to phrase it, right? But in order to do that, only one of, Lopez, Zubac, and Collins is on the court. So while we might look at Collins as an interesting player as their starting power forward, he will be. And then if we look at the minutes between Zubac and Lopez and go, well, how does Brook play enough? Is there any minutes for Collins to play there? I worry. Collins is not going to be as good as he was in Utah, but I worry that he could be actually like, remember when Derek Jones started, he played like 24 a night. I don't know that Collins will do that, but I do think there's a risk in that. Because if you want to just play the 240 game and you want to like build this team out, if they go small, who's the center? Is it Zubac? Is it Collins? Is it Lopez? So there's no guarantee here whatsoever on John. And one of the other things to question is Harden's health. He was really healthy last season, but remember he had some hamstring issues in previous seasons. I'm not that worried about it. But if he does get hurt, it changes a lot. It bumps Chris Paul through the roof. Bradley Beal goes up. Those guys get huge value jumps because Harden runs so much of this team that any absence from him impacts everybody. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about undervalued and overvalued guys, stars and breakouts, all that sort of stuff. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by Skims. Skims now makes underwear for men. The day that I found out about it, well, I took my old underwear off, ran around the house because I don't need you guys anymore. Skims is here. It took a while for the new Skims to arrive, so, yeah. We had some issues in trying to fish the old underwear out of the bin where I chucked them, but that's okay. We got it sorted eventually, and Skims arrived, the men's stuff. Super comfortable. Unbelievable array of sizes in terms of, not sizes like, large, medium, small, you know about that, but the length. 3 inches, 5 inches, 7 inches. You want more coverage, less coverage. You're a booty short sort of guy, you're going to want booty short sort of undies. Different colors, different fits, materials, boxer briefs, regular boxers. You know the comfort of Skims. You've heard about it for ages. And now you get to experience luxuriation. Shop Skims Men's at skims.com and let them know that we sent you after you place your order. Select podcast in the survey and select this show in the drop-down menu that follows. We are talking LA Clippers. We're talking about their fantasy prospects for the upcoming season. So we're going to talk now about some undervalued guys on this squad. And honestly, when we're looking at ranks and ADPs, there's only one name that really stands out to me, and I just spoke about him, and it is Bradley Beal. And I know that there will be some of you that shudder, and you will have the comment which I hate. I hate this comment. Never drafting Bradley Beal again. All right, don't then. But why? Why? I think Beal is currently being undervalued in category leagues, across all formats, and on ESPN points leagues. I think that Bradley Beal is... I know Bradley Beal has an ADP of 133 on ESPN. Remember this fact. ESPN's default is 10 teamers. So they're suggesting probably shouldn't be drafted at all? Foolish. Ranked at 144 for ESPN points leagues. Ridiculous. His Fantrax ADP 124. We're talking, that's just a bench flyer. Yahoo, it's getting a little bit more normal. He's at 94 with a rank and 104 ADP. He was 84th last season per game. Why not again? And if Kawhi or Harden misses time, well, the numbers will rise. He has shown an ability to scale down and still be useful. And I am not a Bradley Beal guy. But I think that there is the hate that is associated with him, or the dismissal of Bradley Beal, is misplaced. Yeah, the injuries have been frustrating. But that same standard does not get applied to everybody. So I think at the moment, like as a late round guy, sure, I'm in on Beal doing that. I'm in on there being value there. Overvalued players, two names that I've mentioned already, and we're just going to detail it a little bit here. But Ivica Zubac is just too highly positioned. Like, what are we doing? I think it's silly. Ivica Zubac has an ADP on Yahoo of 36. He's got a rank of 34. He's got a Fantrax ADP of 45. He's got an ESPN ADP of 25. Now, his category league rank on ESPN is 97, Zubac. So that makes a lot of sense, actually. Or not a lot of sense, but it's more reasonable. But for some, like, absolutely insane reason, and unless they've updated that in the last day, and I'm recording this a few days in advance, but he's sitting at 14 for points leagues. Like, can we just be actually for real for a second? In ESPN points format last season, he was 32nd per game. In totals for ESPN points, while he played 80 games, he was 12th. So, to have him ranked 14th, you are expecting him to play 80 games again and maintain the same level of per game production. This one might be the most egregious set your money on fire ranking that I have seen this season. I can't rationalize it. Again, 32nd per game. Pretty good last season in ESPN points leagues. But that to me is just ignoring any context about what this team did. You're expecting 33 a night. You're also expecting 80 games played. Just not something that I can get behind as making any sense at all. I also think that John Collins is overrated at the moment. I already detailed a little bit of concern about John. Now, I have John around the 100 mark, but I'm a little shaky on it. And his Yahoo rank is 85, his ESPN ADP is at 98, his category rank is 79 on ESPN. But I think that in a points league, doesn't really have even the upside to hit that. I've got him around 120 for points leagues, but he's currently easily inside the top 100 for the sites. And like I said, this is me with him at 30 minutes or so. What if he plays 25? Because they go to these other alignments and bring Dunn and bring Jones and bring Batum and Kawhi moves up and there's a Chris Paul, James Harden, Bradley Beal 1-2-3 combination all working together. Last season, John was good. He was the 63rd ranked player for Yahoo points. He was 36th in category leagues. He played 31 minutes a night with 24 usage. Numbers that I would posit he has no shot of repeating. I don't think he's getting 24 usage on a team with Beal, Kawhi, Harden. Throw in Lopez as well if you want. I don't think he's even... Maybe he plays 31 minutes, but again, it would require a lot of different things to happen. He also shot 40% from three. He blocked a shot per game because he was playing quite a bit of center. I just don't see how these numbers repeat for John. He also, last season, remember, he was not only a backup, but he backed up Taylor Hendricks, and then when Taylor Hendricks got hurt, he did not replace Taylor Hendricks. They went with Cody Williams. They tried Kyle Filipowski. Eventually, Collins got in and played well, but of course, he only played 40 games due to fake injuries. But these are what he did for Utah. I don't really think it has a gigantic amount of relevance heading across to LA. And yeah, like it's not a disaster if you're picking him at 90, like whatever, like 90s, pick 90, it's whatever. You could deal with a mistake there. But it is still too high for me, especially in points formats, where value is driven largely by usage and minutes, and I think both of those are going to take relatively sizable hits. It's a great pickup by the Clippers to get John Collins. I love them getting him. But does it make sense for us in a fantasy perspective to view him not quite as similar as last season, but like again, for Yahoo points leagues, he was 60-30, averaged 35 points. Is he getting near it? I honestly don't think so. I will say this. There is upside in Collins if/when Kawhi gets hurt. because then that small ball is taken away. He still probably won't play center minutes because the other two guys are there. But he's going to play a lot of power forward. And those minutes could rise, and that could give you some upside value there. Yeah, of course, this isn't as egregious as looking at where Zubac was positioned at number 14. We'll come back, talk some stars, breakouts, injured players, that sort of stuff. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Where can you use it? Well, in lots of spots. Parlays, live betting, same-game parlays, player props, spreads, totals, NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, the MLB, as people love to say, WNBA playoffs, futures, parlays, whatever, man, just do it. $5, win it, $300 bonus bets. How easy is that? If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by going to FanDuel.com to get started. That is FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet, and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay. We're talking about the LA Clippers. We're talking about their value for players for the upcoming season. So let's take a look at where we might see some, or who the stars are, which is how I view as guys who could be top 50 guys. And I'm very certain Jim Harden's going to be a top 50 guy. Haven't really spoken about him much so far on this show. Harden is currently going in the middle of the second round on sites. He's got that's not true. ESPN's ranking's got him 17, although his ADP is 24. I don't know, some reason. On Yahoo, he sits with a rank at 15 and ADP of 16. I don't know why we're avoiding Harden in the first round. Yeah, when Kawhi did return at the end of last season, he was not as good. That is true. But remember also, we lost 3 players who you'd consider ahead of him: Halliburton, Lillard, even Kyrie, Tatum. So that pushes back up. I'm not going to have full confidence, because I'm not an idiot, that Kawhi is going to be available all season. And Harden was just dominant last season, like he was the 6th ranked player. Why isn't he being considered a top 10 guy? I'm considering that. Why is nobody else? I don't know. It's just me, I guess. Kawhi is, I've gone through this. He's ranked on ESPN 72 for points, 49 for category leagues, which is totally reasonable. His ADP is 68. Yahoo's ADP's got him at 44. Again, outside the top 50, take a crack at it. I don't mind. I've got no problem with it. In Roto, bump him a round or two. Also no problem. Top 50 per game, easy finish. Not a worry. I'm not sure he'll be a top 10 guy per game, but he could be. I think he was like the 3rd ranked player over the fantasy playoffs, maybe. That's a guess from me, and I'm not going to check it at the moment. But that was awesome. So he's a top 50 guy in that respect. And if you get 60 games out of Kawhi, you're cooked. Unbelievable. The worry that I would have here, I guess, is that that's all well and good, and what if he's not there in March? Because that's possible too. I would say, yeah. Again, if you wanted to take round 4, I wouldn't lambaste you for it, but I wouldn't go higher. We're at the new arrivals on this team. We've talked about a lot of these guys because they're impact players. Bradley Beal, John Collins, Brook Lopez. Chris Paul is the other one. And I don't think that we should be considering drafting Chris Paul, although it is interesting that his Fantrax ADP is 319. That is an insanely low number. I think that Paul is going to be more valuable in category formats than he is in points league formats, relatively clearly. He played all 82 games last season. I wouldn't expect that from him this year. But he's a name that in stashable formats you can hold on to because... Harden goes down and he will play 28 minutes and he will get you 7 or 8 assists. Now, his usage was comically low last season, and it will probably be comically low again. He gets you assists, he gets you some steals with some good free throws. So he's not a 12-team guy, not a 12-team draftable player. But he will be someone that we stream in many times. And if you're playing in Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl, where we go 16 rounds in a draft, he should be drafted. You have stash ability in all of those drafts, not just draft and stash or best ball. He should be drafted because he is a prime backup streaming replacement sort of player. The other guy that they added was Yannick Conan Niederhauser, end of the first round. I don't think he's good at all. He's not going to play this season, and I am not convinced that he is an NBA caliber player. They also added in Kobe Sanders in the second round, and Ty Washington joins the team, and they will also just never play. I don't think there is anyone on this team that I can look at as a breakout. And by breakout, I just mean someone who's going to have a season that is the best that they've ever had. I don't know who that is. Because everyone on this team, this is one of the oldest teams you'll ever see. It's not going to be Zubac, or Lopez, or Collins, or Kawhi, or Harden, or Paul, or Beal, or Bogdanovic, or Jones. It's not going to be any of these guys. So I'm not going to shoehorn something in that doesn't fit. Currently, injuries, like I could put Kawhi here, but I've just banged on and on and on about Kawhi's knee. But I will tell you that Bogdanovic is injured. He's dealing with a hamstring injury suffered at Eurobasket. We don't have an update on that, but you might have it in a day or two. And I can't see, given the additions to this team, how Bogdanovic can be considered a draftable player. 16-teamers, sure, maybe. But he was quite bad last season with a lot of injuries as well. The season before, he had really good shooting with incredibly high steals. And guess what happened to the steals? You'd be shocked to know. They went backwards. Yeah, that happens a lot. So, yeah, he's just not on the radar here. Again, if we get a couple of guys hurt and Bogdanovic is playing 30 minutes, go for it. He's still a good player. But I do think that the peak is done for him. And the injuries have really mounted the last couple of seasons. If we look at schedule stuff, it's not that much there. Like, they do have the second most amount of back-to-backs in the NBA at 15, which, of course, for Kawhi is not a good thing. But as I've said also, if they had the fewest amount of back-to-backs, the difference is 2 over 25 weeks, which amounts to, of course, 1 back-to-back difference every 3 months. Doesn't matter. Not that big of a deal. They don't have any negative scheduling issue in terms of the playoffs. So it's and like most teams, it's a relatively neutral schedule. And I think that there is this schedule impact, focusing on the schedule on a micro sense, week to week, especially in fantasy playoffs, is important. Focusing on the schedule from a wide lens at a draft is not useful unless we are talking the top of the top and 2-game playoff weeks. That really is it to me. That's really the only focus you should have. And even then, it comes down to being more of a tiebreaker behind or between closely aligned players. And that, dudes, is the LA Clippers for this upcoming season. Next up, we'll have the Lakers, we'll have the Grizzlies. They'll come out across the weekend. While you're watching those, you can decide if you want to join any Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowls. Link in the description, QR code on the screen, linktree/LOFB Bowl. If you don't see a head-to-head category league up there, one will come at some point. I do not know when. Drafts are starting. Forgot to mention that. Drafts are starting for a lot of the leagues this weekend, 28th of September in Australia, which is Sunday, 27th of September in the States. They are slow drafts. It is 7 hours per pick. Set a queue if you're going to bed. Don't waste your entire 7 hours just to be a dickhead. Don't force other people or complain, oh my God, how long is this taking? Which I guarantee will happen. Yes, to answer your question, yes, the draft will get finished before the season starts. Guarantee you. Guarantee. That will happen. Absolute guarantee. Hit the old thumb on the video. Hype it up if you're live on, or if not live, if you're watching on the YouTube mobile app. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening. See ya.